Okay, are we rolling? Brian, Luke, let's do this. Okay. This is a story which started in late 71, almost 50 years ago, and it just happened to me. This story is called The Hidden Treasure. I was in the 70s in the hippie movement, and I remember one night I was in my room at home, and my mother called me, and she said, Paul, you need to see this on television. So I saw a documentary about the Jesus movement in the US. At one moment in this whole story, there was this girl that told about what happened with her and Jesus, and I don't remember what she said, but she was beaming and it was just shining, and it hit me straight into my heart. And this whole Jesus story, I knew at that moment that's what I'm looking for. So I bursted out in tears in front of a TV set. And I got in one way or the other. I remember I was crying in front of a TV set, knowing this is real. A few weeks later, a family member of mine gave me an address of the Jesus movement in Den Haag in Holland. I lived in Holland that time, and in the north of Amsterdam. And I went there to this hippie movement. It was kind of people that found something. For me, it was something. I didn't have any biblical reference. I didn't know about the Bible or the New Testament, how many Gospels there were. But it just hit me. So I got there in this room. It was an old factory building, and there was this circle of like 30 hippies singing and having guitars and sharing about all the cool things they had with Jesus, and it was real. Then I remember one moment, this guy stands up, and everybody was sitting on the ground. I think they were too poor to have chairs, but everybody was sitting in a circle, and I saw him standing up, and I remember he asked the question, and he said, "Who wants to give his life to Jesus?" That question hit me, and at that moment, in somewhere in August 71, I gave my life to Jesus. I was prepared by the Holy Spirit. At that time, I didn't know that. I remember I told I don't have any biblical reference. It kind of caught me by surprise. So I remember going away there, or leaving that building. I had to go home back. I slept at home normally, and I remember I had to take 2 buses, and I got into the bus and I started talking to this bus driver about I found Jesus. Now, I don't remember his reaction, but I remember mine, looking at myself, especially now, what hit me here. So I got off that bus, had to wait for another bus, and then the other bus driver also was bombarded with my story. Everybody had to know, just everybody. I went to a lot of people. I went to a school where I was studying, and all these teachers had to know that I found Jesus. And for me now, at that time I didn't know that, but what happened to me is also in the Bible, and it's a story about the Samaritan woman at the well with Jesus. If you don't have a Bible, then find one, and I'll give you the scriptures reference in the picture so you can look it up, see it for yourself. But this Bible is a special book. It's not just a made-up story or whatever, or it's special, and you find that special when you read the Bible. Anyways, this Samaritan woman is talking with Jesus at the well, and then Jesus asks her, "Give me some water." And Samaritans and Jews don't go together, okay? And this woman is just taken by surprise by this question of Jesus. A little later on, Jesus is telling about the living water he wants to give to that woman. And the woman still, in this whole being taken by surprise, says, "Give me that water so I don't have to come back." Now, that's what happened exactly with this woman, and it happened to me also. So this woman is just flabbergasted and about what happened to her, and goes to the city and brings back the whole city to Jesus. And then Jesus stays a few days with these people in this city, and a lot of these people do the same what I did, give their lives to Jesus and be a Jesus follower. Now I remember coming a little to my senses. It took a while, but a little to my senses, and I felt like I need to get my life straight. I wanted to have a pure heart. I didn't read so much in the Bible yet. Some people helped me a little, but it was just one, we say in Spanish, tormenta. And I wanted to have a clean life. And I remember that I went to a shop where I had worked, a big supermarket in Holland. I think I worked there on Saturdays. And I stole some things there, not big things really, I'm not such a thief, but anyways, I stole some things, and the Holy Spirit, I didn't know what the Holy Spirit was, okay? I didn't know, remember, no biblical reference at all. Never went to church, never read the Bible, etc. But someone in me, this it told me, get your life straight. This was a cleansing project in my life, which goes on and on till today. So I went to the supermarket and I said to this boss, whoever, I said, well, I worked here some time, and I want to talk with you. Is that okay? He says, yeah, sure, come. So I sat down with him and I said, well, I worked here then and then, and I stole, I think it was a spotlight or whatever, and some other items I stole here. And I come here to ask you to forgive me. And then there was this silence. He was also, taken by surprise. He said, this never happened to me before. He forgave me. I was offering money also to replace, and he said, no. He said, this is an incredible story. I don't know how they went on, and I got home again, and this is just one of the things it was completely new for me. These first maybe year, maybe 2 years, I call them the revelation years. I was just, I didn't know what prayer was. I was just talking to Jesus and in my bed, and not so long ago, he actually pointed to me and he said, I started talking to you. So this whole thing again took me by surprise, but night after night, it was just this firework within me and this cleansing process, and it was just like a big change in my life. I remember, again, I didn't have biblical reference. I do have now, and I think it's very important. But I was baptized in the Holy Spirit at least 7 times there in my bed. I don't remember if it was one night or several nights. It was just. And I didn't know what it was. Later on, I would find out, this is this, because of having no Bible reference. So I was in bed, and just waves of joy and glory filled my life. It was just again, I was taken by surprise. It happened to me, just like this Samaritan woman. Really read this story. It's just amazing, and I feel very much this is my kind of story. So I was in my bed, and this joy came in. I was just crying of joy and happiness and etc. And then I remember, and this is my key moment in the whole story. One night Jesus took me in his arms. I'm still very emotional about that, but that's exactly what happened. Jesus took me in his arms one of these nights, and it's just too much for words. I still cannot understand it. I can still not, if people ask me who is Jesus, I'm just overtaken by the whole person of Jesus Christ, who is alive today. Another night again. Like if you read in the Bible, again, maybe have you ever read in the Bible or not, but in Revelation, this revelation John has in the book of Revelation, it happened to me also. Now remember, John was just a person like all of us, like Paul is, right? We're not less than them. If it happens to them, it can happen to you, the same thing. So I was in my bed, and then God lifted me up. I felt like coming out of my bed, and I was raised up, and I went through the clouds, and I was in heaven. And this was so real for me, more real than I see myself, more real than I look into a mirror, more real than I see things around me. I was just caught up in heaven, and I heard an enormous choir of angels singing. This is the most beautiful I've ever heard. At that time, I thought, well, I'm going to stay in heaven. This was my first thought. Oh, this is so beautiful here. And but on the other hand, this same thing with the Samaritan woman. I said, no, Lord, I want to tell everybody. I remember saying this same word, Lord, not yet, not yet. I want to tell everybody. So steady but slowly, I went back to my bed. I don't know if this was physical. I don't know if it's whatever. But it happened to me. This choir of angels was singing, and it was so beautiful. I heard it, but I didn't understand it. It was the most beautiful thing I've ever heard. Time and materia were just being stretched. You know, I still don't know if this was years or weeks, kind of. It's hard to explain, but. It's just, wow, it was beautiful. It was so good. I was completely offline, but on the other hand, I was just there. My heart felt like a football stadium or an airport. I don't know how to explain that. And it was just being filled with joy and glory. Since I was in this hippie movement, and I don't want to explain all about what the bad stuff I did. That's not my intention, but Satan had his hand in my life also previous to that, and I was hurt by that in my whole inner being. It felt like he took my brains and he was pulling my brains. Satan is not just a fiction or whatever. It's not just a made up fancy story. It's real. It's real. So I remember this friend of mine from the first beginning. He told me, Paul, if really things get tight, if really is you're in a very difficult situation, then call on Jesus. Shout out to him if necessary. And just at that moment when Satan was trying to pull on my brains, I screamed out to Jesus. And at that same moment, I remember it was like a light breaking through in a big forest. And I'll show you the picture. What I've actually experienced. This is the picture. It was a light breaking through in my heart, and I was just released of this torment, the satanic influence. Jesus set me free. Even with my eyes closed, I would see light. I remember walking with a friend of that same church. He's with the Lord now. Very good friend, very tender-hearted guy. I love him so much. And I remember walking with him, and I would close my eyes. Like this, and I would just say to him, there's so much light. I see so much light, even with my eyes closed. And I remember, this is the last part of what I'm going to tell now, and then I'm going to a new shooting afterwards. It will be part 2. I remember that I was one day looking at the birch tree, this whitish tree, and I would be just amazed by looking at the tree. You see the picture here. It's still my favorite tree, but I discovered new things in my life. It was just, I had a new sight, a new life, I was born again. And I one way or the other, I felt like this little boy that is just amazed looking at things he's never seen before. So my next little story will be out in a little time. I don't know when, but if you wanna be in contact with me, let's say, well, this story touches you, or you have any questions. I don't have all the answers, okay? But if that's the case, then there's this email address here, and find me. Don't be afraid. I'm not a pusher. I don't want to push you into heaven. but I want you to see kind of in my life and get a glimpse of heaven. See you next time.